Hello friends, Coach Bob with you today, and today, welcome back to The Journey, episode 5. Man, we've got a lot of ground to cover. It's been a very crazy week. I'm a little late getting this video out. In fact, as I'm recording this is the Tuesday the video is coming out. I normally try to do it on Monday, but I was unable to get it accomplished, so I'm getting it done today. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the journey, what it is, what it isn't. So what the journey is, it is your life. It is not your birth. It is not your death. It is every moment in between. You are on the journey right now, physically, emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually. And that is what we address in these videos, all three, every week. So I've gotten some interesting emails and comments this week. I'll share a couple of those with you. We'll talk about that, the implications of those, because maybe you might have felt this along the way, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about my weight loss and my fitness this week, how I'm doing post-surgery. We'll talk about what I've learned intellectually. I can share it with you. Maybe it will trigger some things for you. And also talk about my spiritual journey. Maybe that'll bolster you just a little bit. Well, before we get going, to give the video a big thumbs up, share it with your friends and all that stuff. So let's get going. All right, so the first thing I want to address is a couple of emails and comments that I've gotten this week. And whenever I do content like this, I always get these contents. Hey, Coach, you know what? Everybody doesn't have to be thin to be healthy. Everybody doesn't have to do this to be healthy. You know, people look at me and I look overweight, but I'm healthy. Okay, well, that's fine. Then weight loss is not your thing and you don't need to do it. That would be my answer to you. However, that said, in America, obesity is an epidemic. Type 2 diabetes is off the chain, and young people are going to die early because they're not taking care of themselves. And we see obesity among young people in particular being a tremendous problem. And personally, as a coach of swimmers and runners and general athletes, where I try to help young people stay fit and push forward and become athletic. I've helped young people get into military academies, all kinds of things across the board that I've been able to do, which is wonderful. All of them had weak spots that they needed to find in order to be able to get to that next level. So this isn't about me saying, you're fat, you're not fat, you're good, you're bad. This is not about that at all. I'm sharing my journey with you, and your journey is your journey. You have to decide what is good for you, what is bad for you. So I'm not casting stones at anyone, but I am saying that we have a problem in this country, probably globally, but I can't speak for that. We do have a problem in this country, and it needs to be addressed. So if you're offended by that, and I got 2 or 3 emails that were pretty rough. I'll just say they were pretty rough. But anyway, just felt like I needed to address that. I'm not picking on anyone. In fact, if you'll notice, I haven't mentioned a single name other than Bob. So there you go. If it applies to you, let it apply to you. And if it doesn't, okay, good. So let's talk about my fitness journey. As everybody knows, today is 4 weeks since I had my hernia repair. It's been very, very interesting. This week, I'm feeling a lot better. I mean, a lot better. And not only has that created a little sense of confidence, maybe somewhat overconfidence. I have to be very, very careful. And then I'm a radical with everything I do. Now, anyone who knows me knows that. I am the type of person that I want to do everything wide open. So let's talk a little bit about diet and exercise this week, what I've done and what it's done for me. Well, for me, I'm going to tell you that if you were to look back through the annals of history, and I've shown you pictures of me as an athlete, I was at 185 to 193. That's kind of my sweet spot. Now, that's where I am at my peak performance. Now, could I just be the typical grandpa and be happy where I am? I could, but I don't think with my heart condition that I really need to be apathetic. I have to push to a higher level than maybe you do, because it's important for my heart health that I watch it. I have genetic problems, and those genetic problems, quite honestly, they'll kill me. So there you go. So my diet is absolutely incredibly important to me. So my diet last week, how did I do? I'm going to tell you, I did really, really well. 0 cheat meals at all last week. I ate healthy all week long. We even had to get together with some friends on Saturday evening, and I made conscious, healthy choices. So it was a tough week because of the little party we went to. I wanted to cheat. I wanted to eat some stuff, and I could have, but I told Vic, I said, I've got to do better. And if I start compromising now, it's a little bit early in the game for me to compromise yet. Maybe in 3 months, I'll be able to take that day or two and go, I'm not worried about doing damage, or I'm not worried about, breaking a good habit that I'm trying to develop. Habits, as I've described them before to my athletes, is this. Habits are like small metal wires, and every day that wire is put out there. Day 2, there are 2 of them. Day 3, 3 of them. And before long, you have a giant metal cable. So if one of those wires snaps, you're safe. Your habits are still in place, and you're going to be okay. But if you start cutting those wires too early, you'll fall back into your old habits. So when you start to develop new habits, be very careful about slipping back into the old ones, even for just a little bit, until you develop them and you know that they're strong. My macros all week were perfect. I got the protein I needed every day. I got the fats I needed every day. I got the carbohydrates I needed every day. So I did everything every day last week. This week, I told Coach Vic I'm going to start taking Sundays off, not with my nutrition plan, but I'm going to let my old body recover a little bit from the exercise, even if it's just walking. It doesn't mean I'm sitting on the couch all day. It just means I'm not going out and killing it. So last week, I averaged over 16,700 steps a day. Yes, 16,700 steps a day, which comes to over 7 miles every single day of walking. Now, that is not me going out on a 7-mile walk. That is me simply putting time together, getting on the treadmill for an hour, walking around the house, going out in the yard, taking the dog for a walk, just being moderately active. I needed to do that. So with my nutrition plan and my exercise program combined, what did that get me? So what it got me was more weight loss that is desperately needed for me, for my hips and knees and my heart. So where am I? Right now, I weighed this morning at 207.8, from 215 to 207.8. That is 7.2 pounds. So I have 7.2 pounds less of fat on me than I did a month ago. That's great news. And I feel it, I'll be quite honest with you. Now, I will tell you that there was a day that I weighed earlier this week where I'd exercised a lot the day before, and I got up that morning, I weighed 205, but I knew that was all just due to, working really hard the day before, and I had sweated a lot. So I knew that that wasn't real weight. So watch your scale. It does this, but you'll see a pattern that develops that will be a definite weight of what you truly are. I'm going to be having some blood work done here in the next few weeks because I want to see where I am and all of that. Again, this is not about vanity anymore. I know that's the thing that in America that we like to talk about all the time. Oh, well, you're saying that I'm ugly, or you're saying I'm this. No, it's not about that. This is about my health. It's about your health. You need to do what you need to do. You're going along with me in my journey, and that's what this is about. So if you draw any inspiration from that, whether it is to maintain your current weight or to lose weight, or if you are extremely thin, I've got a niece that deals with MS. She would love to put on 30 pounds. She can't. So this is all over the board. You have to develop a nutrition plan for you. You have to do that. All right, so let's talk about the emotional, mental, intellectual side, what I did this week. We know last week I was talking about the Jim Quick book, Limitless, and I've been working on that book still quite a bit, but there was something that hit me even more as I read through these emails of folks. Some of them were quite nasty, some of them were quite encouraging, but I just found it interesting. It didn't upset me, but it's one of those things that I told Coach Vic, I'm like, I think I need to clarify all of this thing. And I never expect that kind of stuff to even be said. But I may have mentioned in a previous episode where The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey is one of my favorite self-help books of all time. It was life-changing to me earlier in my federal career, and it has been a wonderful, wonderful book and a blessing to me in my life. It was something that created success in my career. I learned how to be a manager, to be effective, to be a leader, to be honest with myself and with others. And it was really, really important. And although there are thousands of things in that book that I could share with you, I'm going to share with you habit 2 for your intellectual, emotional thing this week. Habit 2 is this: begin with the end in mind. Let me say that again. Begin with the end in mind. What you have to do is have a vision of where you want to go and what you want to be, and begin with that vision. That is where you're going. It's your map. Find other people who have done it and ask them how they did it, and you will learn how to do it too. So with me, I am beginning with the end in mind. I know where I want to be. I will be. I'm telling you, I will be between 185 and 193 pounds. I will be there. It will happen. And I will do whatever I have to do. If that means diet and very, very light exercise because of my heart, I'll do what I have to do, but I am going to get to a healthy body weight for me. It's funny to me. I have a standard in my mind of what is normal for me because of what my friends are and all that. But it's not normal. Just because I say it's normal doesn't mean it is. So my vision is to be this. Not only in this weight recommended area, that's beginning with the end in mind, but my vision is for my blood work to be perfect, or at least as perfect as my age and my genetics will allow it to be, and for me to be in a normal BMI. For a normal BMI, I am considered overweight. I'm still overweight. So is the BMI scale perfect? No, it's not perfect. It's a general rule, but I can tell you, for me, it's exactly where I need to be. So beginning with the end in mind, what does that look like though, even emotionally, intellectually? So we know in our body it's easy because this is what I want to look like. This is how I want to feel. This is what I want my blood work to do. This is how I want the scale to read. All of that's easy, right? And so you create a plan to get there. But that takes the intellectual side and a physical side to accomplish that. In your mind, I want to be a better reader. I want to be more intelligent. I want to be more articulate. I want to have a better vocabulary. What does that look like? Find someone who you admire. Listen to how they speak. Work on it. Read books. I want to educate my children. What do I need to do to educate my children? Well, I need to be able to teach these concepts. How do I learn these concepts? This is what it needs to look like. Begin with the end in mind. I want to educate my children and start working backwards. I want to get to this weight. Work backwards. And figure out what you need to do day to day to day to day to day. And I'm going to tell you, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People will tell you how to build a program like that for your mind. It is not about this, it's about this. And I'm telling you, the second habit, begin with the end in mind, is absolutely critical. Everything is created twice. It is created first in the mind, then it's created in reality. Begin with the end in mind. So there's your mental, intellectual thing. Begin with the end in mind. Read, 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 read. I want to be smarter. I have to read. All right, so then there's the third thing, the spiritual man. Let's talk about that. This week, I'm going to tell you all of my reading was in this little book right here. It's called the Bible. So I read this book a lot this week. I've really enjoyed my Bible reading, and I always feel like that of all of the spiritual things I read, I always get more out of reading the Bible. Here is what I got this week. Here's what God gave me this week. And I read several books in the New Testament, but this was the overwhelming thing that kept springing up in my heart. So this is in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 24, and it says this: "And that you put on the new man, which was created according to God in true righteousness and holiness." I have a vision of who I am, and I have blind spots. I'm not perfect. No one is. And I know what I want to be. I want to be a better man. I want to be a good man. I want to be a godly man. I want to be a good father, a good grandfather, a good husband, a good friend, a good content creator, all of that. And in order to do that, I need to put on that armor and become the man that God has created me to be. It's very simple. It's a very, very simple concept. But man, is it hard to apply it in all areas of your life. So my challenge to you this week is to make sure that you put on the new man as well and get busy at the journey, because it's really important. All right. Well, do me a favor, give the video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel. This stuff is really important. But until next time, I want you to do me a favor. You, yes, you, go change your world.